How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be doing my review for episode 2 of The Flash Season 9, final season of the show. And the episode title was Hear No Evil. Obviously makes sense. But overall, what were my thoughts on this episode? I'll be honest, the first 10 or so minutes, maybe even like 5, I don't know, kind of took me a second to get into the episode. But it kind of won me over by the end, to be honest. It wasn't horrible. Maybe even better than the premiere, which is weird because, again, when this episode first started off, I was kind of like, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it. I don't know why, but I wasn't really into it that much. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty decent episode. So basically, the episode kind of focuses on this new version because right where he picked up, we pick up right where we left off in the last episode, this new version of Caitlin, but she's not Caitlin, and she's not Frost either. They call her Snow in this episode, but then by the end, she calls herself Keone or something like that, some weird. Um, and apparently, Mark's still trying to bring back Frost, obviously, but now Caitlin is apparently dead too, and then this whole episode, they're trying to bring Caitlin back, but then I guess Keone, or this new version, doesn't want to do that anymore because they need to kind of like sacrifice her basically to bring back Caitlin. And then the episode ends and it's like, oh, Caitlin and Frost are gone for good, it seems, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that's exactly true and if that's going to continue through the rest of the season, if Caitlin is actually gone. If so, well, that's pretty sad. But I will say Danielle Panabaker's acting this episode was really good, playing this new character. Although her acting's been pretty consistent throughout the whole show, she's definitely one of the better actresses on the show, in my opinion. So I did want to talk about that briefly. Yeah, she was really good, and I kind of like this new version of. Well, it's not really a new version of Caitlin. It's a completely different character, completely different person, but. She's interesting, I would say. She's kind of like a clean slate, so yeah, kind of cool. Also in this episode, we got to see Hartley Rathaway, the Pied Piper, make an appearance, and he's awesome, of course. I forgot that he was going to be in this season. He's pretty cool, and it was good to see him again. And we also have the Fiddler. It's a different Fiddler from Izzy Bowen, which I think she was introduced in like season 4 or something. Which obviously, we get all these new rogues recently with Captain Boomerang in the last episode, and now the Fiddler. It's a different person, though, from the ones we're used to. And they're in cahoots with Red Death. Now, Red Death actually gets a bit more of a focus in this episode compared to the first one, which makes sense because I believe the Red Death showdown's happening in like episode 3 and 4. I think it's like a 2-part episode, so... Which, again, this is why I love when seasons are 13 episodes, because instead of 20, we can get through stuff quick. We don't have to stretch out things unnecessarily. You know what I mean? So we got a bit more of a focus on Red Death, and we actually got the suit reveal in this episode at the very end in the kind of post-credit scene type of thing. I mean, there was already behind-the-scene photos of Red Death, of the Red Death suit, and I thought it looked pretty good, so... I mean, I don't think it's like as good as like maybe the Reverse Flash's suit or something like that, but you know, it's pretty cool. And Red Death is kind of intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. The voice is pretty good. Sounded more intimidating in this episode than the last episode for some reason. Maybe because we get to hear it a bit more. But yeah, it was pretty good. One thing I didn't like about this episode though is when Flash kind of talks Hartley out of killing the Fiddler. You know, blah blah blah. We've seen this shtick over and over again where Barry talks the villain out of killing someone. I mean, Hartley's not really a villain anymore, though. But he thought his boyfriend died. And then they're like, oh no, his boyfriend actually survived. Oh boy. Yeah, that was pretty awful. But other than that, it was pretty good, the episode. I liked how they all danced at the end. And they also, in the credits, as the credits were playing, they showed them dancing. And Iris is like, he's the Flash. You know, it was cute, I guess. It was fine. There's also interesting transitions in this episode with the rain. the rain would like kind of fade out, and then there was also like a weird swipe transition that kind of reminded me of something from Star Wars. That was a very minor thing I noticed in this episode. I looked like who directed this episode, and it was Eric Wallace who directed it himself, who's the showrunner. So that's pretty cool, you know. But yeah, the more I think about it, maybe this episode's better than the last episode. Really, the only thing the last episode had going for it was Captain Boomerang, and he does make an appearance again briefly in this episode towards the end. Hope we get to see a bit more of him. But overall, I think this was okay. Yeah, I just didn't really like that whole thing where Hartley thinks his boyfriend died, and then he's like not actually dead. Yeah, it was kind of a cop-out, maybe, but also it's just like, Barry, we gotta constantly talk the villains out of doing stuff. This is unrealistic, dude. I mean, he could talk the villains out of doing stuff sometimes, but, I mean, we can't keep doing this. But yeah, I liked the episode overall. It was pretty good. Well, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but I'm trying to keep it positive. But yeah, let me hear your thoughts on the episode. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Was it better than the premiere? I think it actually kind of was. I think, or at least they're on par with each other. But yeah, let me hear all your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.